Well, hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral, and this week I'm just going to show you some updates and what I've slowly been working on my project here, the Porsche 911 Slant Nose. And I know many of you cringed, and I have a bad habit of pronouncing some of the names and words wrong, as I've been doing it for so many years. So I understand it's Porsche or Porsche, Porsche, which right here. But as I'm learning, and I'm open to learning about these cars and interesting. Like this is the Testors, and it's the Slant Nose, which is what I built in the late '80s myself. Built this exact kit, and I had fun doing it. And that's really what I'm just reliving here. But I am learning about the car more as I go, and about Porsches in general. And even kind of funny that, like in the Fujimi boxes, they call it a flat nose, and this one calls it a slant nose. Looked into that just a little bit, but really don't know much about that conversion other than it was really expensive. And also that this car really isn't a 911, it's a 930 turbo. But I'm just kind of enjoying learning about that stuff, and it helps me as I move along on some of these projects like this, where some of them I've researched really well or know the cars really well. This one is one that I built and had fun, but didn't know a whole lot about it. I did rent a couple of books from the library on Porsche, and was reading a little bit about the early history and how they got started, and the 356s. Especially the early ones, they were kind of ugly, but the 356A, B, and C, and I've got some of those kits, as well as the 959. I've read quite a bit about the 959s, and but these 911s, didn't know that much about them because I made them for so many years, and there's so many different variants of them. But to me, some of the model kits just looked cool, and that's what this was to me then, was having this flat nose, slant nose with the pop-up headlights. That to me was very cool and very exotic, even for a Porsche that's even pretty exotic, and especially with the flat six in the back and everything. But these things were just always really cool to me, and I've had some of the kits I've collected, but didn't really get into building them all that much. But I'm just kind of enjoying the research on them. And doing some of the work, like some of the stuff I've realized, researching it. Like I painted these taillights, but finding out that if it's the amber on the sides here, that's pretty much the Euro spec versions. The US versions were red here, but people would buy the Euro versions and put them on US ones, and do that. So I thought that was cool. I'm like, you know what? I did the other one all red, so this one I was going to do more of like the Euro version. And then I'm going to put the Euro plates on it, the longer plates on it, and do that. But also, didn't realize, but it's mentioned here in the instructions that, and I'll go to that page. These are photocopies because I didn't have all of the instructions. But right here is the turn signal that goes right on the fender. And they're included in the kit, and they're freaking tiny. Look at those things right there. I still have to paint them amber, and clean them up and try not to lose them. Clean the sand, the pieces off, and then paint them amber and stick them on there. So trying to lose them, so I'm gonna put them back in a box because I've already lost them twice while I was working on it, and I had it stick to my arm and then fall on the floor, so I had to find it that way. And then while I was at it, another option they give you is tell you about cutting the windows out, which I did to this one. Cut the windows out, so I have the windows down and I can see in the interior better. So I really like the way that's coming out. And then here's the windshield, which on this one, the windshield frame is tweaked a bit right here, so I can really get it in there and show you. You can see the difference there. I've got two of these kits, and both of them had this problem. And I'm not sure how many it's really affected, but it does move over easily. Just barely push on it and it moves over because these are really thin. So I'm hoping that I can get this glued in here and square, but if I put it in here without really any pressure, you can see, how far it's moved over. But I can get my finger in there, just hold it and squish it, and then everything lines up. But I'm gonna have to glue it, get it something to hold it, hopefully some clamps, clothespin clamps to do that, to hold all of that. But before I get there, I still have to finish painting the black trim, which on this one I'm hand painting. You can mask all this off and then airbrush it, but you spend a ton of time masking. You really do. And, you know, once you finally get there, you can airbrush it and peel everything off. But around these bumpers, that is a ton of masking. If you can get in there and see it. So I just been brush painting and picking it out. It gives it a bit more of the rubbery look too, brush painted, that I think. But the main thing is I'm just having fun and I'm happy, and that's really all that really matters. Not the easiest kit to build, a lot of fitting and tweaking and making sure everything fits, and even in the front, brush painting all of that, getting all of that in there. But I'm really happy with the way it looks. Really, really happy with it. So it's all clear coated. Lots of fingerprints here, of course. But I just got to get these blacked out and then get the windows glued in there. I'll get the handles glued on. There's this rib right here should be black also. I'll end up doing that at the very end because of all the handling right here I'm doing. So I'll do that at the very end. But the whole inside's blacked out, of course, which I've shown that before. But just kind of, enjoying this one, hand painting it. And I do a little bit of time, like I worked on the whole back section and then put it down because I have a bad habit of, I'll turn it around and start working on the front and not realizing I put this on something. So I'll let the back half dry, then I'll work on the front half. A little bit of time here and a little bit of time there. So I haven't had a whole lot of modeling time. Another thing I did learn with this particular kit and this car, these wheels are a little bit bigger than my 85. The 85, I guess, is 15s, and these might be 16s. Not really sure what the specs say, but they're physically bigger and nicer tires than the 85 kit. But just having some fun and some cool stuff. Oh, and here's the interior, because I did show me building the interior and getting it done, but I hadn't finished the dash yet. But here's the speaker grills, the engine in and all assembled here. And it's all looking really cool. Getting this glued in place and getting these to line up looks like that's going to be fun. May not exactly line up, but the axles are in, the engine's in. There's all of the exhaust, the crazy setup there. And just liking the way it looks, even though once you finally get all this stuff built, it's really tight in there. And then that dash, which see if you can get in there and you can see the different color knobs and lenses in there. So I kind of had some fun with the colors there and the gauges and decals. But it's all pretty much ready. This is ready to glue in once I get the glass in. So that's really what I'm kind of working on now, but just kind of slowly. And I got to paint the inside of these wheels black. And I brush painted this set. I may mask these and airbrush these to get the center airbrushed a little bit better. So a couple of different ways to do that. And then when it comes to the whale tail, I'll do the same thing. I'll mask and then airbrush it because that's a lot to brush paint actually. The thin lines aren't so bad. The wider sections, it's a bit more work to do it. Not impossible, but comes out a little nicer airbrushed. And this one I'll airbrush. Got the turbo decal right there on the back. A little tramp stamp. I've always thought those were. But still cool. But this thing's just coming along and enjoying it, but reminiscing about what it was like to build the first one, and it's the Testor's version. And I remember building it in red and just how it looked. I pretty much did it exactly like the box art, and playing with it, and I remember how easily these suspension components broke and how hard they were to glue in place. So taking my time and fitting everything and trying to make sure everything is right where it should be, which is a bit of a challenge, especially getting all of these hoses and stuff to put this motor together. And I forgot what the count is now, but something like 57 parts to put that motor together. A ton of parts. But still, when I get into some of the other ones, the other Fujimi ones, the 356A, I believe I got that one in the Speedster and a coupe. And even the 73 Carrera, that thing's pretty cool. I read about that. I didn't know much about that car at all. Just, a other than just the funky tail that thing had on it. But you know, the history just really intrigues me, and I really enjoyed doing that stuff. So I think I've rambled on quite a bit on this one, and you know, just giving you an update on some of what's going on with it and where I'm at, and just kind of enjoying it. So you guys, and giving you a real close up look at some of this stuff before it goes together, and you can't see all of this stuff because once it's in there, it's in there. In this motor, the motor is a work of art. Even though I'm not, you know, the biggest fan of these motors, but you know, they've earned their right and respect. Oh, I just knocked the steering wheel off. Time to re-glue that. But I'll get the glue and re-glue that on there. And it's just how these things go. Oh, one step back, two steps forward, whichever. But that's no big deal anyway. But you know, but there I can show you the Porsche decal in the middle of that steering wheel, which was a pain to do, and me trying to detail it. Man, I can, you know, with the camera I can really see it up close, where in person I can't. I put it in front of my own eyes. So getting old, eyes aren't as good as they used to be. But enjoying this one, and any other tips you guys might have or to point out for me, that'd be really cool. But you know, enjoying building this one. It wasn't really a main focus, but it's really exciting to see it getting there, especially in this red color. This is Scale Finishes Mazda Soul Red, which you know I picked just to do on this car, even though it's really not a factory color. But really wasn't too concerned about being 100% true and 100% factory on this one, you know, reading about it and kind of enjoying it. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments and everything. I really do appreciate it, you guys. And you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time.